All right, who needs to start a show properly? Just get in it. Episode, I think, 95 of the Blathering. I'm Ken Knapsack. It's Thursday night, June 6th already. Oh, my God. What are we going to do? I'm already making plans for July. I'll already be in Seattle with Mark Ellis for comedy in July. That's unacceptable. Not that we're going to be doing comedy, but that the time is moving so fast. But I'm happy to be back here with you all. Another edition of the show that is a AM radio talk show from days of yore set in a modern era. That means we take calls. If you're a channel member here on YouTube, you support me on this YouTube channel. You get the link to call in. And also, if you're a Patreon supporter, patreon.com/KenNapsuck, you get to call in as well. It's exciting because I often don't know where it goes. If you want to help the show, there's a lot of ways to help the show as well, including QR codes, donation spots down below. Or you can do what I love best, hang out with me and watch the damn thing. I want to apologize to YouTube channel members for being unable to get 20 minutes of coffee going again this week. I'm having fun at this job I'm working at right now. I really like this job, but it's just taking a lot of time. I'm researching a lot of cool projects. I can't wait to just fully talk about it one day with y'all, and all that kind of stuff. So, there we go. Luz Theron's here. What's up, Naps? I like that name. Napzak, Napzok, Kenzok, Kenny Bunk, Nappy. Not my favorite one. Napsizzle, that's a good one, Luz. I like that nickname. I like that. We also during tonight at some point just going to check in on my fantasy baseball team and other things, other important things. There's a lot of other things going on in the world. My favorite thing this week was the same thing as last week, the number 34. It's a good number. Steve Bannon. Getting to prison July 1st. That's coming as well. We'll see if he actually gets there. Oh, I love it when good things happen to good people, right? Oh, yeah. There we go. If you notice, a fantasy baseball team, it was in the crapper, but we're climbing back up. We're in the we're over here now on this side. The 57 points overall. That Dorn E5 team up there, that is belongs to Johnny M from Long Island. Johnny M from Long Island, I brought into the league, and he's doing pretty good. We're chasing him. 898-4M says, take your time, make your dough. Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of where we're at. Very happy with that. Very happy to make my dough, as it were. I'm going to bring this up again. We handle business up top. That's the way you start shows. Handle your business. I don't know if that's exactly accurate. If you're local, if you can make it out, would love for you to come on out to Ken Knapsack's Hot Burbank Nights, Sunday, June 30th, 7 p.m. in the Flappers Comedy Club Yoo-Hoo Room. I love that room. It is a smaller, intimate room, which means there's a better chance I'm going to sell this sucker out. But it's going to be a fun, intimate night of comedy. I'm doing about 40 minutes. I've got some cool things planned. It's not even going to be necessarily a traditional stand-up set all the way through it. So if you've seen me before and you can get on out here, you are going to be treated to something new. Also on the show is Mark Ellis. As I said up top, Mark Ellis and I will also be in Seattle again, first weekend of July. My buddy Joe Starr, who is a great comic. A lot of you don't know him as a comic, but he's kind of getting back in the game, and he's one of my favorites. He's going to be there. Another one of my favorites is Jen Sturger, who is a joke writing machine. She's a very wonderful comic to share a green room with or be on the road with, because she's just an absolute professional, one of my favorites to perform with. So that's going on as well. All right. I got to sell this up. Major Problems is here. HT says, interesting, my uncle's last name is Star. We go anywhere on this show. We go where you want to go. If you've got a question or comment, and of course, yeah, I'll say it. If you get a super chat, that definitely helps things. That helps my mood. It helps me see the question. It also means if you ask me something and I don't want to answer it, but it's in the form of super chat, yeah, I'll acknowledge it. Whether or not I give a legal and a binding answer is a different question, but I acknowledge it. That's part of what we do here, but I don't want that to be absolutely all that this is about. And we got a comment here right now I want to get to because we got Luz Theron listening on Twitch. And he says, if I could ask her some positive words. My cousin took his life yesterday, but you're not for the Tacoma Narrows. So we used to watch Schmodown and he loved you, boy. Well, Luz Theron, there's no words I could possibly say that could alleviate your pain. This I know. If you're part of the community here, if you're part of the Schmodown community, it can get very tight. It can get very close. And in, lieu of having the right words or the right hugs or the most powerful hugs in the world to take all your pain away, you do have a community around you. And I think that's something to lean on. There's been many times in the Schmodown, unfortunately, where tragedies and sadnesses have happened, and I love seeing the community, even after the Schmodown went away, rally around each other. We've all got crosses to bear. We've all got pains and struggles, but it's also important to look around and see who needs help. So, Luz, if you're the one that needs help tonight and you're the one that needs comfort, I want you to hold on to that. I want you to hold on to the community. Hold on to what you can find. And if you're not in a position to immediately connect with the community, if you're not in a emotional position to accept some of that love, just know and feel it that it's there for you when you're ready to take it and when you're ready to receive it. That's all I can say about that. And I wish I could jump right in and plug every bit of every hole in your soul and take all the pain out. I really wish that. If me doing some silly song and dancing here tonight gives you 2 seconds of relief from your struggles, I'm glad you're here for it, and I'm glad we're going to do it. So there you go. Appreciate you hanging in there. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you being a Twitch follower. That's some good news, right? Let's focus on Twitch, right? Nah, I'm kidding. But Luz, I very, very sad and sorry for you. The one thing I'll say, those memories of watching matches, those memories of booing. I hope you and your cousin were booing me. I hope you and your cousin were booing me because that's what I deserved. And I hope you have a lot of fun memories of watching a silly little movie trivia show that meant so much to the people around it, the people who watched it, and the people who were in it. I think that's a good thing. Michael McCarcel says, shit, Luz Theron, you're not alone in your grief. I truly believe that Sue says one of the hardest things to grieve. All love to you, friend. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anything that's tragic, sudden, unplanned, unwanted, unneeded, unnecessary, it's hard to wrap your brain around. Absolutely hard to wrap your brain around it. Like I said, I don't know if you need to wrap your brain around it tonight because it's probably impossible. I'll rally around you. And you got some good words from people coming in this chat here right now. Luz says, Luz there says, we booed Freddie Prinze Jr. more than anyone. As you should have. As you should have. You know, those Force Bros, I think they got away with some stuff. I still contend to this day that time ran out. The reason that heel turn I took in the Schmodown worked because it was based in so much of reality, so much of what I thought. And by the way, nothing against Whitwer. He's a great competitor, wonderful guy, Star Wars trivia champion through and through. But that reaction was real. That reaction was real at the end of that match, where I was like, the time ran out. I was staring at it. I do not believe he got his answer in time. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? It was my fault for falling back that far in the match, the Iron Man match. But anyways, the heel turn that came after that was very organic. It was very real. It was fun to do. We got some calls coming in here soon. We got some folks lined up. One of the things I want to do here tonight as well. First of all, let me recheck that fantasy baseball team. Have we moved up a little bit? No, but I'm going to bring in someone soon that's going to answer for his crimes in this league. Venture says that has to be one of the most watched episodes. Top tier. I think so. And what was so fun? And by the way, I'm so far removed from it in a good way. Let's talk. Let's talk Schmodown memories. If you got some questions about it, your Schmodown, you found me through Schmodown. You used to watch Schmodown. Normally, I don't talk about it. Normally, I don't go into anything, and I'm not going to spill any beans or tea. But I love talking about it now. So I don't know if the Iron Man Star Wars match ended up being by numbers the most watched, and I don't necessarily think that's directly what you're talking about, Ventures, but it ended up being one of the most talked about, and it was weird because the Schmodown lasted so long. 9 seasons of the Schmodown. That's over the span of, 7 years or so? I know it was kind of like reality TV where the numbers, this wasn't necessarily 9 years, but at the same time, maybe it was 2014. And really, we'd been living with movie trivia contests on the Schmoes Know show since like 2013. So it's basically a decade. No, Lou says, I'm sorry if I brought it up. No, actually, I'm happy to talk about it. There was just a point in time, if I'm being honest, where I wasn't a regular Schmodown competitor or contributor for a long time. At one point in time, Schmodown was just kind of work. It was part of our Fridays at Collider. And, do you like talking about work or do you enjoy all the aspects of your work? No. But as time moved on, I had a ton of fun doing it. I really loved, I've said this before, so this is repeating information, but I really loved coming back for season 9. Was I the best ring announcer? No. I broke my vocal cords most of the time. No. Was I the best announcer? No. So many other announcers. Andrew Guy, Mark Ellis were the best team. But it was fun to be part of it because I really believed in what they were trying to do that final season. Just time and money ran out, so to speak, on everything there. But happy to discuss it there. But what's interesting, what I'm saying to Ventress's point here is the Iron Man Star Wars match, which was in a different era, obviously. The questions, I think, were easier. But I think it's because of that, because of things like the Iron Man match and Alex Damon and Scrimshaw and I doing a 3-way dance match. Like, we took all the questions. So they had to start digging deeper. But by the time you get to season 7 or 8, and I can't remember what season the Iron Man Star Wars match was in, but it's ancient history. Even the beginning, other than you got JTE versus Christian Rubalcaba at the beginning, the kind of the test match, the unplanned pilot, the fact that I was in the first official match with Katie Sackhoff it was a long forgotten fact. Because you got people that joined in the show after. You got people that start watching later. Season 4 or 5, I think, we saw some of the real big growth in numbers and real big. By then, that 4 or 5 years in internet time is ancient history. And I think by the time I got to the end of season 9, I was definitely an old timer. I was definitely Yogi Berra coming back for Old Timers Day at Yankee Stadium. So, man, it was a time, says Jackie Acavetta, and it was a time. It was a time. There we go. Michael McCarthy says, I'm lost hearing Schmodown talk more than I am with sports talk. I never actually watched a single match. Just I was interested in. Yeah, there you go. That's part of it, too. Major Problem says, watching on Twitch, I remember where I was when Ken stood up Rachel for the team's match forever. Sharon Somerfit, Jake says it was 2019 was the 2019 was the Iron Man match? God, it seemed earlier than that, but that's the thing. Pre-pandemic, everything seems ancient history. The thing, Venture says, that Iron Man match was definitely when I felt a shift in the Schmodown. It kicked it to another level as a fan. And happy to be a part of that. Oh, Jake says 2018. I don't know. Jake's he's just throwing darts at the calendar right now. There you go. Major Problem says this. I remember where I was when Ken stood up Rachel for that team's match forever. The thing I'll say about that, and I don't know if it's been answered otherwise, and I never want to speak to anyone involved. A lot of that, the details of that and the choice to do the switch and everything probably came from the twisted mind of Harloff. But what had happened is I had pitched the heel turn. We kind of had worked on it. I was going to unveil that I was working with Grace, all that kind of stuff. My promo after the Iron Man match was all made up on the spot. Yeah, all made up on the spot. There was nothing too pre-planned. With Christian and I, Harloff and I obviously, as a lot of you know, not only a pro wrestling fan, but worked in pro wrestling and knew how to cut promos and knew what I wanted to do and knew what my job was. My job was always to sell the story for the next week and always tell the story for the next show. And when possible, make sure everyone else around me was bigger than me. Which would make any accomplishments that I stumbled on bigger, but also make them build them up. And Rachel was going to be big. Rachel had come in here and shown that she was one of the people that took it to the next level. So the idea to turn on her, I don't necessarily, like I said, the details were probably from the crazed mind of Harloff, but it was real in a sense. Like, it's still real to me, Devin. I had cut that promo where I was upset. I was upset that I had the time had run out and the system was against me. Now, not saying they faked it or anything like that. I want to be clear. But that's how I pulled that out and made that the core of my heel turn. And then just spoke about things that I felt were real, that I felt by this point, I was one of the best to talk in the game, but I was being overlooked. And already I was old news as a champion. I was a fluke champion in people's eyes. Whitworth was a new thing, and he also had celebrity status. So that's where that built. And then it all led to the day of turning on Rachel. And Rachel, if anyone knows, is just one of the sweethearts of the world. And just performing, just being out there was hard for her. I think she definitely got better, but she was open with some of her struggles, social awkward anxiousness, whatever you want to say. And it was not a comfortable thing for her to do. And because she had known me before, us being in the Nerds Watch was a little bit of a comfort. It was a life raft. She was by far the better player in terms of knowledge. I got some. If you watch those matches, I pulled some answers, but she was leaps and bounds ahead of me. I think she was not yet where she would want to be as a quote unquote character, but her character always came from her heart. But that day in the studio, she was visibly upset, shaken, not mad. I think she understood the show and what was going on, but it was hard for her. Everything about that was hard. It was a little bit of a kick out of the airplane when you were like, I liked this airplane. I didn't want to leave this airplane. So I always felt bad, but hey, you got to tell a story. I think we told a good story. So there you go. All right, Jake finally got it. He finally got it. 12/22/17 was the air date of the Iron Man match. There you go. There you go. I love this. Ventress says, I bought the heel turn hook, line, and sinker. I was mad at you, irrationally. My partner was like, it's produced. Calm down. Maybe one of those folks were you, Ventress. Maybe they were, but LQ says 2017, when we were young. When we were young, only the good die young. Ventress, I remember there was people that commented. There were some people that commented even like on the Force Center Facebook page that were like, I'm not listening to Force Center anymore. I can't. I'm so upset. And on one hand, it was like, well, don't take a click and a listen away from Force Center for this, because it is produced. But at the same time, Ventress, I'll take the win. As Roddy Piper would always say, people didn't come out to watch Hulk Hogan win. They came out to watch Roddy Piper lose. Happy to be part of that. Steve's here, checking in as well. We're catching up with some Schmodown memories. That wasn't even on my plans tonight, which I like it. I do have some topics to get to, and I'm not get to. I think we're going to do from time to time. I love segments, but we're going to have a free-flowing conversation here. I like when Steve calls in with some fun questions and some hot takes, all with a grain of salt and a wink and a nod. We had some of these sent in from my friend Johnny M. from Long Island, and I shortened them to make them a little graphic here, but also other things. If you got a take on this, I want to know too. Get going in chat. If you want to call in and sell me on your favorite restaurant, I love food talk. How do you find happiness every day? We're all struggling with it. We got serious things going on. Luz has got a broken heart, but he's here. How do you get up in the morning? How do you find happiness in the darkness? Let's have some serious conversations about that. Then let's also some serious conversations about what's your favorite store that doesn't exist anymore. Did you go to Suncoast Video and you're heartbroken it's not there? Let's talk about it. Hot food take, the bread heel. We're talking heels. And I did put it as heel, like bad guy. Bad guy. take it as that. Bread heel, good or bad. Also on my list of things to get to tonight. This is a lot of it coming in. Jake Yakovetis is Johnny M from Long Island can suck it. I don't know if that's appropriate, but I'll take it. I read it. Hillbilly Scripps is here. He called in last week. Rich T says, I found Ken on Jet accounts on Colorado years ago. I even submitted a long question that Ken pulled from Facebook, and they answered. It was so cool. I think I got to remember that. What was the question about, Rich T? I do remember pulling a long question from Facebook. All right, we do have some calls coming in here tonight. We got some people to get to. I want to get to them, but I have to. It's on my mind, so I'm going to bring him in here first. Luz says no, and I mean no part of a loaf of sourdough bread is bad. I like that. All right. Hillbilly Script says, when I read bread heel, I pictured a slice of bread and a leather jacket wearing sunglasses indoors. Like every Schmodown villain. Which, by the way, I want to say, I wasn't necessarily the first. I think JT wore them too. I can't remember when Bateman showed up or Guy. But I was the first to say, sunglasses indoors for the Schmodown, that's a cool thing. I take credit for that. Again, did other people do it? I'm sure. Roka wore some glasses inside. I definitely think I remember JTE. But I made it part of my thing to a level that I think inspired others. That, good or bad, they showed up as a heel, they wore glasses. Chance has his sunglasses are birthed from me. Steve says Ken walked so the kids could run. Vermont Mike has some hot bread takes going on. The heel creates imbalance to the sandwich, so it throws it off with tougher texture. I don't disagree. Vermont Mike and I agree on that fact, but we end up in a different spot. I don't always I will skip over. We'll just get to this right now, then I'll get to a call here. I skip over the bread heel, until I can no longer ignore it, where the choice is either it's discarded or it's used. Often, I'm a big fan of just butter. And I right now have avocado oil-based butter. Is it any healthier? Mentally, it might feel like it's healthier. I get to that heel, I just take a knife, and I just scoop up that butter, and I put it on the heel, and I just smush it together, and I have a butter sandwich. That's what I do with the heel. But as far as it creating an imbalance, I don't disagree with you, Mike, at all. I think I'd still eat the sandwich. All right, I'm going to bring this guy on a call now. He is from Long Island. He's a regular around here. All our callers are regular. If you want to be a new caller, if you want to help me expand my caller fan base or Rolodex, become a channel member here on YouTube or support at patreon.com/4center. Every Thursday, put up the link to call him. But Johnny M from Long Island is here, and I have some questions for Johnny M. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing just fine. I'm just questioning Jake and what I'm supposed to be sucking exactly. What is it? That's what I want to know.
Jake's got to work through what Jake's got to work through. Let's just say that. All right, I'm gonna bring this up. You're still with me, Johnny? You hear me?
Okay. I can hear you. I can see you.
Okay. Let's talk a little fantasy baseball here, and I don't want to bore people who aren't fantasy baseball players or aren't baseball fans. I brought you into this league. I've been in this league for 24 seasons, roughly. Joined in 1999, this league. A lot of the core ownership has changed, but me and my friend Corey still own the same team, the Osaka Baseball Concern, a Simpsons reference. Brought you in, 3 seasons ago?
Yeah, okay. 3 seasons ago. It's my 3rd season.
You have been better than us in these 3 years, and I'm starting to take it as a personal attack and affront.
I am just trying to make you look like a good recruiter and a good scout, Ken.
Okay. You're doing it for me.
Yeah.
You're doing it for me. I appreciate that. You're also, here's one of the things I admire. And again, I don't want to get into the weeds on this and bore everyone. Ooh, we went up half a point. Look at us. 57.5. And there you are. Dorn, there's your team. 65.5. You already got 2 home runs tonight. You got Ellie Dela Cruz. That might be the part of the secret. You are a crazy trader. You trade a lot of players. And I think that's a good trait in a fantasy baseball owner. I can't bring myself to do it. How do you emotionally detach yourself to trade like you do?
I don't ever draft Yankees in this league. That's a very easy thing to do
Because we're
because it's
National League
National League
only. Yep.
only.
Yep.
Yeah. So I stay away from players I have an emotional investment in, and that way I trade them like stock.
Okay. It's a day trader scenario.
Yeah.
How many trades have you made this season?
I think just two so far. One with you guys, and then one
That's
with the
okay.
first place team.
But last couple years, you've been, I think, the leader in trades pulled off.
I'm aiming to do that again this year. I think I have the most trades so far this year. Everyone's been a little bit. Everyone waits till mid-year to make trades. So
Yeah,
I
they
just
make the big dump deals. Yeah.
I get aggressive early on and just let people know who I'm interested in, and then
Yeah.
usually they circle back at some point.
That's good. I want to take a moment to say to Michael McCarcel, sorry, Michael was finally going to call on the show, and I delayed. I delayed to get Johnny M on, but he's got to head out. Too much to do tonight to get ready for a big trip. Everyone take care. Michael, you have fun on your big trip. Anyways, yeah, no, it's some serious advice, and it might be some advice for life, too, where maybe you cut out problems, maybe you distance yourself from toxicity or the changes you need to make. It all has to be with a little bit of treating things like not property, not stocks, like you said. That's we're talking about something different, but things that can be moved out of your life. There's a little bit of not emotional detachment, Johnny, but the ability to form new attachments and new emotional connections. That's what I'm saying. Your fantasy baseball strategy helps all of us accept in life.
Yeah, there's that, and then just understanding the ebbs and flows that when players suck is when you want to get them because eventually they're going to have a bit of a hitting streak at some point.
There you go. Oh, by the way, this is the big one for Michael. Michael's taking this trip, and he's proposing. He's doing the proposal on the trip. Michael, please, next week, could you call in, give us an update? We're going to assume yes, of course, without a doubt, but we want to know how it went out. All right, Johnny M. from Long Island, do you have a question for me, or do you want to answer your own kind of question here? This is something that originated with your submitting of topics to me. By the way, out there, you all can submit a topic to me by becoming a YouTube channel member or a Patreon supporter. Just leave it as a comment in the post for the show. Hot take, hot food take, the bread heel, good or bad? Johnny, where do you go with this?
So it depends on the loaf of bread I'm talking about. But if it's the store bought like Wonder Bread or something like that, I typically do what you do, where I save the heels towards the end, and I'll do some kind of either butter sandwich.
A butter sandwich.
A butter sandwich is a way to go.
Do you? Yeah, like, is that? Am I alone in this? I think I saw someone in chat agreeing with me. Like, one of my favorite things is just a butter on butter sandwich. And there's also been times, one of my favorite things, I do this a lot actually, because it's great on toast, but people don't translate it to just a sandwich. I have a peanut butter and butter sandwich. My great uncle taught me that one.
But I do think, and I had the peanut butter and butter sandwich. That's a fantastic sandwich. But I go the other way with like a loaf of Italian bread, where I prefer the heel.
You prefer the heel.
You know, if I have like sauce on my plate and I'm mopping it up, and I have that heel to hold, it's like a perfect utensil for that.
I got you. I got you here. I'm gonna try to bring up. I'm gonna try to bring up an image here. There's my images. Okay, I like this, and we're gonna share this tab instead, and we're gonna do that. Okay, hold on. Doing technical stuff here because I don't have a director. All right. Here's what I got for the Italian bread. So you think the heel is better on this bread?
Yeah, I mean, I prefer like a longer, like traditional Italian bread. But yeah, for a loaf of bread like that, slice the heel off, and then you could jab a meatball in there if you want. You could jab some sausage in there. It's like a perfect.
Just jab a meatball in there, as you do.
I mean, but think about it. If you cup your hand and you hold the heel of the bread that way, and then you're eating that almost like a sandwich, it's like a perfect vessel for meat.
It's a perfect meat vessel. I don't disagree with that. I like what you're doing here. I like what you're doing here. And in chat, we've got people disagreeing and agreeing. Steve says good take. Yakavetta is saying peanut butter and butter sandwich is making me reevaluate how I feel about you. I know the respect is growing, and I understand because I've opened up your world. Luz on Twitch says, Luz there says, also can't like garlic bread. Heels are the best part of the loaf. Now, we also, Ken Plume was in chat. He said, the last sandwich you should make out of any loaf of bread is made with 2 heels that you've skipped. I don't disagree with that. That definitely takes care of the heel quandary. You know, Johnny, it takes care of the problem, but I don't mind mixing up those heel and regular loaves.
No, I don't mind doing that. I don't mind sometimes when you get the weird loaf of bread where it's giving you 1 heel and then everything else is a slice of bread.
What kind of,
Like,
kind of monster loaves of bread are you getting?
So that's like a rye bread. Typically, like you get like I think it's like the beefsteak brand rye or something.
Okay, I avoid the hell out of rye and pumpernickel. Rye's the one that's got little like seeds or nuts in it, right?
Well, yeah, but you can get it without. I don't do the seeds and nuts and stuff.
Just horrible.
Yeah, no, it's no good.
Horrible. You as a father, Johnny, do you pass on any of this hot food take knowledge to your daughters?
Of course.
Or do you let them heal as they want with their bread?
No, I indoctrinate them into all things I love, as I do with anything.
Okay, that's good. That's good parenting.
Yeah.
A lot of people are really excited about your meat vessel comment. Troy, I can hear him screaming from in Boston from here. It's a perfect meat vessel. LQ says, and Laserbolt backs this up. Got to have good rye for Rubens. What do you have with hot pastrami if not rye? Yeah, I don't have these kind of sandwiches. I don't like Rubens, and I don't like hot pastrami sandwiches because often they're served on disgusting bread, Johnny. I take a stand on rye bread.
I mean, I support that. Whether I agree with it's another story, but I do support it.
I appreciate your support. Well, rye, yeah. Rye's not good. What is the other bread too that I'm thinking of? Yeah, rye I don't like. What's the one that has the little seeds in them?
No, that's rye. So you can get rye with I think it's the caraway seeds, which are just I think it's the worst bread. I agree with you.
Okay, it's the worst of the breads.
You can get a seedless rye, and I like a seedless rye.
All right. Maybe if I want to put some of that hot meat down my mouth, the pastrami, that's what I'll do. JMB's on my side. Johnny, I was going to let you go, but I didn't get a chance, give you a chance to ask a question because I pulled you into a topic that already existed. Do you have anything for the show tonight?
What's the thing you miss most about the whole Schmodown? I know you've had this love-hate kind of, not love-hate, but like this strange relationship.
There was at times I hated it. No, let's just say there was at times I hated it. I did when it was Fridays at Collider. It was death to me, and that's all on me. It has nothing to do with the people who showed up or the show or Harloff putting it together. It was just not those of us who worked at Collider at the time. It was our Friday, and that often meant we had to stay later, and that often meant that our work had to actually end at 1 because then the Schmodown took over. And then they got to a point where there's a lot of people coming in, a lot of people watching. But I'll say this, the thing I do miss is there's so many great people involved in it. And I do miss having to see some of those people. We always have a list of people maybe in our lives that we're like, oh, I don't have to see them anymore. But the Schmodown is full of people that I had to see. Like, Adam Witt and I have been trying to get together for lunch for months now. We can't. But I had to see him once a month at the Schmodown tapings, and it was a joy. So it's that kind of community, that kind of fellowship, Johnny, that I think I miss more than anything. And the live shows were spectacular. I knew I was never, once I lost that title, and once the competition started opening up to people who were studying like crazy to win those Star Wars matches, I knew I was never going to win the title again, and I knew I was never really ever going to win again. But getting there for some of the live events, the first one in Los Angeles, I believe, or maybe the second one, Can't remember what it was now. Maybe the second one. That was the Scribshaw Damon Knapsack three-way dance match. My friend Van William came out with me, singer-songwriter rocker Van William, my entourage, whoever everyone's with, and I had the skull mask and all that stuff, and the music was playing. That's when I used the Last Jedi theme music. That scratched a pro wrestling itch that had been gone for a few years, and was pure performance. I knew I was going to lose. There was no way I was going to defeat Scrimshaw or Damon. But it was fun, and I miss that kind of stuff. 300 people booing you, some cheering, booing you. It's a ride.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember the one time I was starstruck at a Schmodown event. A burly young Ken Knapsack came sprinting past me to get to the
Burly.
stage. Burly. We're gonna go with burly. Burly felt like the right
Burly.
adjective. Yeah. Came sprinting past me heading towards the stage. You commanded such a presence, and I know you talk about your competitiveness, but I think that you were the Schmodown's version of a Bobby the Brain Heenan in all the best ways.
I put on a weasel suit and flop around that ring for you. Yeah. Was that the first Brooklyn event?
Yeah. First Brooklyn event.
That was great. I remember that. I didn't really know you then. But I remember your daughter's there. They had a sign they made and all that kind of stuff. I remember that. That was fun. A lot of fun doing that. Someone in chat. Oh, it's our buddy Luce Theron says. Nap says, "Oh, freaking love your book. I got an audiobook so I can hear someone else joy the way I hear mine in my head." I appreciate that. I will say I don't want to turn that into housekeeping, but I will. I still have my website for like 3 more weeks. Might have it for another month because I got to sell tickets to that comedy show from my website. But you can go there now. This is old. I've updated. I actually did sell one of those Ahsoka Tano Gentle Giants. I still got copies of Why We Love Star Wars signed. So if anyone wants to pick those up, personalized copies, they're there on the website. Johnny, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate you checking in. And, next time we'll maybe talk about your time taking batting practice at Yankee Stadium.
Sounds good, Ken. Have a good one.
See ya, Johnny from Long Island. Thank you all. Hey, if you got a question for me, you want to call in and ask, get there, do it. Become a channel member. And from there, you'll see a channel member post, or become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/Ken Knapsack and get in there as well. Laserbolt has a question. You don't need a super chat this one, Laserbolt, because I'm going to answer. He says, is that stuffed wampa behind you actually missing an arm, or the arm's just short? It is just the most adorable, short-armed, two-armed wampa. It's just the best. It's one of those Star Wars Smugglers Bounty exclusives. I don't even remember where I got it. It's still got the tag on it. I should take the tag off. But man, I love collecting Wampas. I am selling some Wampas. I do have a lot of Wampa Funkos and Black Series I'm getting rid of. But I love the Wampa, and I love Wampa memorabilia. And this is perhaps my favorite. Perhaps my favorite. Venture says that's an adorable Wampa. All right, we got some calls. I got Ventress. I got Brennan. I'm going to get to those calls here. Commando's checking in. Commando 21 says, "Hey, Ken. Hey, Ken, indeed. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with us here tonight." We got Will McLean says this. "Hey, Ken, is Catholic Talk coming back for new seasons of House of Dragon and Rings of Power?" So we did have this question last week, but I have a little bit more clarification on it here, so consider this the official announcement. Casterly Talk will be back. I will not necessarily be back, so I'm going to be more of an executive producer on it. We're also going to kind of downgrade the show a little bit, where it isn't going to necessarily be deeply prepared notes on the episodes. It's going to be a little bit more of a post-show hangout. Alden's going to lead it. There's going to be an open invitation to a large series of guests, a large collection of guests, I should say, that are welcome to join. If I feel it, I'll join. I had to come to the decision that I think I am ready to retire from talking about some nerd talk things, some genre discussions. I'm still all in on Star Wars. Really enjoyed The Acolyte. I enjoyed discussing it even more. Force Center's not going away. It's going strong. But with things going on right now with other things I'm working on, and it includes more time doing stand-up, I just knew I knew it was time. There was also a moment, and last week when I was addressing this, I had not yet talked with Alden, but there was a moment where the casting of Tom Bombadil in season 2 of Rings of Power, a show I absolutely love and can't wait to come back. Rory Kinnear had been cast and revealed. They released a picture, and I had no opinion on it. Not a bad one, not a good one. I just was like, cool, can't wait for the show. And I didn't want to jump on a live stream to talk about it. Definitely didn't want to tweet about it. Definitely didn't care about it. Definitely did not want to get into the debate on it. I just want to enjoy it. And that's kind of where I'm at with Rings of Power and kind of where I'm at with House of the Dragon. And I had to be honest with myself as I look at things to kind of separate myself from while I concentrate on other things, which includes stand-up, includes my job for the Y-Files right now. I wanted to step away. But the brand is strong. The brand has people who are waiting for us to come back. And Alden still wants to do it. And Alden is, he's my Padawan learner when it comes to this stuff. But in many ways, he surpasses me in terms of knowledge and theme work and how to break it down and how to discuss it. So I hope no one is going to miss me to the point where they don't watch, but it will be there. And there you go. Lou Theron says, it's a very Tom Bombadil outlook on it. There you go. All right, let's get Brendan Marr in here. He's got to go soon. I want to get him on here. Brendan Marr is in here. Our buddy Brendan Marr, the Page Turners, They Were Not, is his Star Wars podcast. He's got the Bombad podcast guys on it soon. What do you got, man?
Yesterday.
Oh, you did have one yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
I don't, the social.
I posted the episode today.
Great. The social media algorithm makes me see things in a very delayed way. Brennan, you said you were going to answer a question. What do you got?
Restaurant, Outback. Outback is my favorite restaurant.
Okay. You've mentioned Outback a lot, and it's been a few years. So you don't need to sell me on it as if I'm not going to go.
No, I'm not going to sell you.
But sell me on why you love it so much.
Oh, my word. I'll tell you what. The bloomin' onion is one of the greatest things ever invented.
Okay. So...
It is
weird,
so good.
Weird story. I briefly dated, like in 2005, a girl who's like, her relative created it. It was part of the creation of the Bloomin' Onion.
Well,
so
awesome.
That doesn't get me any cred in life, but it's good. All right, so the Bloomin' Onion.
There used to be one just down not too far from me, but then that one closed. So the closest one is actually a couple miles north in another city. So, I'm
trying to think where the nearest one near me is. I won't dox myself and bring up a map, but it might be Burbank, heart of Burbank. But I definitely know there's one in Northridge near my old mall. So I'll go. I'll head out there for you.
I do know that when I come out to Burbank next, I do want to stop at the why am I drawing a blank on that restaurant?
The
one you're always talking about.
Wood Ranch. Yes.
Wood Ranch, yes.
Yes.
I definitely have to stop there.
Highly recommend. I'm hitting Wood Ranch up tomorrow. I highly recommend. Yeah, that's my spot. That's the one I would try to sell you.
But that's all I got, really. I mean, I love Outback. And also, just really quick, I do miss the days of the Showdown because I got to participate in it in the last season, then it ended. You're a champion in your own right. Yeah, I was indeed. I had to return the belt, sadly, but
yeah.
I do miss those days. I think I first became aware of you because of the Schmoesville movie show.
Sure.
And then, of course, Jedi Alliance, which was amazing.
Long time ago now, right?
Anyway,
10 years.
Good memories.
10 years.
But my favorite dish at Outback, weirdly enough, is the salmon.
I like that.
They serve it with an amazing sauce. I forget what sauce it is.
You know what? I'll tell you something, Brennan, and I know you got to go soon. I really agree with you. Sometimes I'm not a big salmon guy or fish guy or halibut guy, though I love shrimp, which disgusts some folks. But like sometimes I go to a restaurant and it's not that I like the chicken. I know I like the sauce they serve on the chicken.
That's exactly how I am.
The sauce is a draw. Put that on a T-shirt. The sauce is a draw. So I agree with you. Troy says this, Brennan. Outback's blue cheese pecan chopped salad is the best salad I've ever had. They have a blue cheese vinaigrette like nothing I found elsewhere.
Yeah,
So good. So
my
you
problem
have.
is I'm allergic to dairy, so I can't eat blue cheese.
Well, that's maybe we can we'll get some vegan blue cheese in there.
Yeah.
I can't vouch for it. I can vouch for vegan feta cheese, but I can't vouch for vegan blue cheese.
That's all I got.
Thanks, Brennan.
Always good to talk to you, Ken.
All right, love you, brother. Get on out there, keep putting out those great shows.
Yes.
Brennan Marr checking in. Did you see the fire in my eyes when he started talking about sauce? It's the little things. Like when I go to the smokehouse, I've talked about the wedge salad. We're not talking about the wedge salad. The garlic cheese toast at the smokehouse, love it. We're not talking about that. I do not love like chicken dishes. Like I like a chicken tender, chicken sandwich. I do hot Nashville hot chicken. I like chicken. But I don't go to a restaurant. It's not the first thing on it. There's like a chicken dish that's got it's a little bit of an Alfredo sauce, but it's got those capers. The sauce with the capers, you could just serve me a bowl of that. If it was possible to slurp that up, I'd do it. I get excited for sauces. I'm Cat Knapsack, and I get excited for sauces. And I get slossed for sauces. So there we go. Capers, says JMB. Capers. I also want to thank JMB for Super Chat. Says no questions or comments, just some support. No, wait. Who's your favorite Acolyte character so far? Also, we need more Ken, not less. I wish I could clone myself. My favorite Acolyte character so far, it's twofold. I think my favorite so far is the character of Soul. Young Jae's, JJ they call him. Young Jae's character Soul has just a warmth. No, of course he's called Soul. He's got a sunshiny warmth and a depth and a sadness to him that I'm being drawn into. A lot of people comparing him to Qui-Gon Jinn. I don't. Yes, I think they're right, but I think he's really setting a template as a Jedi to himself. But I got to tell you, I love the character of Yord, and I won't go into any spoilers for anyone who is ready to watch Acolyte but hasn't yet, or who just doesn't care. So I won't bore any folks. We did 2 hours on the first 2 episodes on Force Center. Check it out. But the character of Yord, man, Yord Vandar, he's making some mistakes. He represents a lot of things that should be analyzed about the Jedi Order in this time, 100 years before the Phantom Menace. But the character being played by Charlie Barnett, I think he so far to me is my most favorite actor in the series, and it's got some good performances already. Just love what he's doing. I'm excited to see where the character is going to go. Rooting for him to change and grow. 8984M says, Yord Horde. Yord Horde. He also says he's a melancholy Qui-Gon. I love that. That's great. We also got this question from Rich T. Says, my older Collider question could still be a decent idea. Leia and Luke movies, along with a young Solo, Alden taking place after the Jedi, and having them cameo with each other and crossing over like MCU. I do remember that question, and I'm still on board for that kind of stuff. I'd love to see Alden Ehrenreich take another swing at Solo. Really would. Vivian Lyra Blair as Leia. She's a little young to do a post New Hope series, but I want to see her grow into another swing at Leia in a younger, Leia in the Imperial Senate series or whatever. I think she was wonderful. And I think with Luke Skywalker, there's some, and not the Sebastian Stan choice. I actually think he's actually started to age out of that conversation. But, the guys who, there's two performers, their names aren't on the tip of my tongue right now. There's two performers who played Luke in Mando and Book of Boba Fett that were the base for the digital version. They both look like him. If they can act, bring them in. Let's do it. So there you go. Appreciate that question, Rich. Really love that. All right. Call coming in right here, right now. I don't know where it's going to go. By the way, you can still answer a question. Hot take, the bread heel, good or bad? What do you do with it? What's your favorite store that doesn't exist anymore? How do you find happiness every day? And sell me on your favorite restaurant. Brennan Marr talking about Outback Steakhouse was viable. We got a call coming in here from Ventress 87. My favorite Ventress fan. Rachel is also what she's known as, but it's hard not to call you Ventress. What's going on?
Hey, Ken, how's it going?
It's good.
fighting the urge to change it to Ventress 34, but gonna stick with 87.
I'd respect you if you did it. So, but I get it.
I opened edit a few times on a couple different platforms. Decided against it.
Yeah. Well, and look, I want to see the 34 indictments, the 34 convictions on those charges. That's never going to go away. But I want to see appeals, and I still don't have all the faith. We were talking about it last week. I still have all the faith that this sticks because society seems to not, justice doesn't always work. But I like where we're at. So there you go. Love it. 34.
Not a bad place to be.
But what's on your mind?
Well, first of all, I just want to say, thank you for taking some time to, talk about Schmodown a bit. It was,
yeah.
And as mad as I was about you on your heel turn, I will say it did bring about Rachel and Clark Wolf teaming up. So, good out of the bag.
It did. And Clark, I think, is as responsible for anyone as getting Rachel into the league. And I know that story's been told. It's their story to tell, too. But Harloff had worked with Rachel years prior. I had met Rachel a couple years before the Schmodown started at a party. So she was always kind of there, but she was watching it, and I think it needed to be the direction it went. So there you go. But I enjoy. Now I know. I got to ask you, Ventures. How I know you knew it wasn't quote unquote real, but what got you? Why were you so angry at this nice face of a human who just made a decision for himself?
I mean, I really think it was because I was loving watching you and Rachel and watching her compete and realizing just like how much of a powerhouse she was. And I was waiting for the Night's Watch to go all the way, get, all the belts, kick the Patriots' butts. And to see that and like, obviously Clark Wolf and there were a bunch of other female competitors that were really strong in the league, but seeing that Rachel could do teams, genre-based competitions solo, and to see that not happen for her with you as her teammate, that hurt as a fan. As a human, I get it. Bit of a script, production, understand, but
sure. Look, I'll say this. I was never going to hang once, and I was going to bring in a comment here because I actually really understand it. David Aspino says, I prefer the Schmodown when it felt like people were just playing with their day-to-day knowledge. The study element kind of ruined it for me. Couldn't play along as a viewer. And I understand that. And there was a part of that. I always say this. I think it needed to go that direction. After a while, I understood why, but I think it did. Like the peak of the Schmodown for me was the documentary of the rise and fall of JT. That was what the Schmodown was to me. It was a comedy sketch show. But I think for the plans they had and the opportunities that they knew were starting to form and come, and that includes some of the stuff that happened later on, I think it needed to grow. But I understand where David's coming from there. But to your point, Ventress, and happy to talk about the Schmodown stuff. I, at the time, was sneaky good when it came to non-Star Wars stuff. I really was sneaky good because I have a lot of pop culture knowledge and context, and I got some great big answers. That first match, I got it. So at the time, could Rachel and I have defeated Drew and Sam? No, but maybe, especially because the team matches weren't as long and they didn't involve as many questions, and you could get lucky, get a break, and get a bounce that goes your way. I actually think we could have gone farther if we had gone another year.
Yeah,
Title, I'm not going to guarantee, but
I think you guys could have done it. I mean, I was a big fan of your guys' team. I was just a fan of the Schmodown in general. Like, I have a Wolves of Steel T-shirt. It was great.
I broke your heart. I understand, Ventress, but I said, in breaking your heart, I helped you form a new connection. I think that's a win.
Fair.
I think that's a win.
Very fair.
I think that's a win. That's a win. Anything else on your mind? Anything? Where do you want to take it? You've got the floor.
I got the whole floor. Oh my goodness. I mean, as far as the topics that you had put up, I mean, I've talked about it a bit before. I gotta say, story doesn't exist anymore that I miss the most. For me, it's Borders. I was a shopper there when I was a young kid. It was my first full-time job. It's where I met my partner. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I when I came home from college to help take care of my mom after things got under control, I was like, all right, well, had to leave college, didn't have a degree. I'm like, I got to find a job. And started as a cashier. And I was not part of the store closings when they went under bankruptcy. My store closed maybe 6 months before under a leasing dispute with the mall that we were at.
Oh, yeah. Were you at my mall? Were you at the Northridge Fashion Center?
Different coast. But yeah, I started as a 17-year-old cashier and left as a manager with marketable skills.
Marketable skills. I love that. I look at that. Yeah, Rich T says I like Borders. Walden Books too. Yeah, Walden Books. B. Dalton Books as well. Borders Books is where I discovered manga. Says Lou Theron. That is wonderful there. Big Lou, check it in. Never had Borders in Jacksonville. We had B. Dalton. Big Lou, stick around. I have a compliment for you in a bit, but you have to wait for your compliment. But Ventures, I love Borders Books. We did have one at the Northridge Fashion Center when I was starting out my security career. It actually got opened a couple years after I started, so I was still a uniformed patrol guy and a shift supervisor at graveyards. But I used to always go to it. Borders Books and Music. I used to love just browsing. Used to get my music there. I used to go all my magazines, all my Star Wars magazines, the Phantom Menace Collector's Editions, Premiere magazine, came from Borders.
Oh, yeah.
So in a world where we talk about Suncoast and that's sad that's gone, or all this warehouse, Tower Records is big, I get that. But I spent more time at Borders and a lot more just, it was a calm place for me.
Yeah, and it was just so great to work there. I'm still friends with coworkers, with customers. Been in a relationship for 15 years with someone I met working there as a coworker. Like it's sentimental to me, personally and professionally. But I gotta say, it was one of the most liberating experiences working for a retail store in liquidation.
Yeah, I feel you.
Definitely took advantage of having a desk upstairs and might have hit a couple Blu-rays to save them for $1 day on the last day.
Hey, look, I still have, I think the statute of limitations are, and plus I think the radio station doesn't exist anymore. All of my collection of The Who on CD comes from the radio station that laid me off. I took them. I stole them from the music director's office. They had been shipped out. And, sometimes it happens. You fight the power when we can.
I just consider it an add-on to my severance package. Take these hardcovers and Blu-rays.
Love that. Ventures, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. I love you shared your stories. And I'm so sorry retroactively for upsetting you.
I'll get over it.
That's good. Well, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for calling in today.
Thanks, Ken.
Veterans here. We got a couple more people lined up. If you want to be a caller, hey, it's pretty simple. All you got to do is become a channel member here on YouTube or support at patreon.com/Ken Knapsack. You'll get the link, and we'll take your call. And it's not screened, so you could be really bad and say bad things, and I'll try to cut you off. But everyone's been wonderful. Everyone's wonderful. I got a comment I want to get to. And I'm going to pay a comment to Big Lou. Then I got a call from Evan, and I got a call from Steve. And I think Evan's first time into the show here, but Evan has been a long time watcher around these parts. LQ's Defend Us Ventress says that's called supplementing your income. Goddamn right it is. Quick question here, going back to Schmodown. Rich T says, I do wonder, Ken. By the way, Rich T, wonderfully written questions in a comment world. You're a 3-syllable guy in a 1-syllable world. I respect him. I do wonder, Ken, was Christian the only one of those Schmodown people that worked in the wrestling world? He was a writer, correct? Did you work there too, or did others? Yeah, so I worked in wrestling. Christian had a stint as a WWE writer before I had met him. It's one of the things that kind of connected us as friends. I remember he told me he'd worked for it, and then I asked him, so, oh, crap, so did you ever, meet Vince McMahon? He's like, meet him? Like, I literally flew next to him on planes all the time. He kept his writers around him the whole time. He's told some of the stories, fascinating stuff. But I got into pro wrestling in 2001. One of my good friends was working security with me. He'd go on into still going on in a long career in law enforcement. But we became close friends, and he was a pro wrestler. And to shorten the story, so it's not old and boring, he started his own company because a lot of promoters are shady, crappy people. So he was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be something different. He was like 21 years old. Started a company called Millennium Pro Wrestling. They had a couple matches, a couple cards, I should say, a couple events, and then I joined like the third one. This is actually really weird. I told him I was a pro wrestling fan, and I knew some things about it, and he told me later on, he goes, I don't know, I kind of wrote you off as a mark, like a smark who thought he knew the business but didn't, and we weren't as close friends yet. But what ended up happening, we became closer. But two, I went to war with the bosses of our company, the supervisors of our security company that I work for, Andrews International Security. A bunch of lovable scoundrels, all former cops who ran it, and I do mean that, lovable scoundrels. There was this little thing that happened where they cheated all of the staff out of like $5. We had to pay $5 to get like fingerprints or something, but they said, don't worry, we'll reimburse you. And then they never did. They never did. So on Graveyards one night at 2 a.m, I told one of my friends, I was really upset. I said, well, I should do a video, and we should start like a labor movement here. And so he went home and got his camera, because back then you didn't just whip out your phone. He went home, got a camcorder. He goes, I got a camcorder with a VHS tape, everything. This is like 2000. And he came back, and I created this character, and I cut this promo on our bosses. And it ended up getting their attention, and that's a whole other story. I ended up going down to their offices in character, on camera, all these things. It was the whole thing. But my friend saw that, and he went, oh, yeah, I'm gonna bring you into MPW right away. That's how I got into wrestling. So I was in wrestling from 2001 to 2002, and then we kind of stopped. And then I was involved with it as a wrestling journalist. I used to work for, not work, I wasn't paid. I used to write for a website called WrestleZone in 2010. Used to go to a lot of conventions. And then in 2010, MPW came back from the dead and had a run for a while. So I was in and out of it. I knew a lot of the folks, talked a lot of the wrestlers, used to cover it. Johnny LaQuasto and Ryan Katz and I had an early online internet wrestling show in like 2008 or 9 range, maybe 2010 range. Ryan Katz was known as GQ Money. Ryan Katz went on to be a longtime WWE Performance Center employee, one of Dusty Rhodes' right-hand man. I think I'm on interview credited as by Kathy Kelly. Ryan and others had kind of got her into wrestling. She was working at AfterBuzz TV covering the wrestling shows. And her first ever live wrestling show was Millennium Pro Wrestling. She actually came out to the ring with Ryan Katz, and I actually I interviewed her, and I was friends with Kathy. I haven't talked to her directly in a couple of years, but still friends. And so she's one of the mainstays of the WWE now. So yeah, I was in and around that stuff, but not to go too far down the path. But as far as the bonus, so it was Harloff and I, but then I brought in Jay Washington. I brought in Jay Washington because I'd known him through Screen Junkies, and Jay and I became friends because we had the wrestling connection. Now, Jay was a worker. He actually used to be in the ring. And I took some bumps and I wrestled some matches, but I was a manager and behind the scenes and a booker. Jay was a worker. Long distinguished wrestling career. So, I told Christian, I go, look, you got to bring in this guy, Jay. And I remember this was, we were at the Collider Studios, and Jay cut his first promo. I can't remember if it was before or after match. Doesn't matter. Jay cut his first promo, and Harloff kind of turned to me and he said, "Oh yeah, this is going to work." So other than that, I think we had a lot of wrestling fans. I can't remember if we had a lot of wrestlers or people in wrestling. So, anyways, wow, I went for a long time on that question. I apologize. All right, I got Evan calling in here in a second, but Big Lou. Oh, but Laserbolt says that's some Conan level bleep right there. It was fun. Big Lou, I want to, Big Lou's here, Big Lou's Clubhouse. Subscribe to Big Lou's channel, okay? He's got a couple. He also does channels where he, builds things. I watched Big Lou, it's 2 days ago. I watched Big Lou build a playroom storage table for his nieces in its entirety on his channel. I just sat there and watched it. I was like, doesn't Big Lou has like a workshop, like Big Lou's workshop. He has Big Lou's Clubhouse, he has Big Lou's, because I have a Big Lou's workshop t-shirt. It's like, I forgot about that channel. I'm subscribed, but I forgot. So I go there, I watched it. Big Lou, I watched it in its entirety. But here's the other thing. Big Lou's Clubhouse. I've been on record. I do not like reaction videos. I do not like the reaction content genre. I don't like it. I don't like it for many reasons, but there's a lot of wonderful people in it. Big Lou does reactions. I ended up watching both your Acolyte reactions today, Big Lou. I liked it. I liked what you did. I like your vibe. I think you just sit there as a nice dude watching something you love. And you know what? I apologize to everyone in the reaction business. You're all doing wonderful work. You're all doing well. There's a lot of channels doing splendid, doing tremendously well. I don't like it in a lot of ways, and I'll never do them. But Big Lou, I got to pay you a compliment. I sat there and watched them. There you go. There you go. All right. Okay. I'm going to bring in to the show now. He's here making his, I believe, debut. Evan Osborne Lomax. Evan, am I correct? This is your first call in.
Hey, Ken. How's it going? Yeah, this is my first time calling into the Blathering.
Love it. But you've been, your name has been around these parts for a while.
Yes.
So I appreciate you hanging with me through all the good and bad.
I
How
appreciate you, sir. I've returned from the nether realm of the Force to speak to you tonight.
I love it. You're like a Force ghost. You return to me now at the turn in the tide. We're crossing
and all.
I like the audio. That way you can call into the show, Evan, and you don't need pants on. You don't need pants. Call in as yourself.
The funny thing about that is...
Uh-oh.
Anyway.
What's on your mind, buddy?
I want to piggyback off of the Force Center episode you guys did a few weeks ago about physical versus digital media.
Yes,
and And I want to talk about not just one store that doesn't exist anymore, but just shopping in general before the internet took over.
I love this idea. What are your thoughts? I'll give mine, but I want to know, where do you go with it? What do you miss? What do you need?
Well,
what do you need from shopping?
I'll give you a little context first. I'm turning 30 in 2 months. So when I say shopping for the internet, I mean like the mid to late 90s and the early 2000s.
Right.
So I'm talking about our Blockbuster, and for me, Toys R Us. I, for one, was a Toys R Us kid. I know it's still around, but it's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing. No, but God bless you. Jeffrey found you when you needed him most.
Yeah, exactly right. So it was a different feeling back then when you got whether it was the Sears catalog or Toys R Us, the Christmas catalog, and you got your, let's say 1997, we got the re-release of Star Wars coming out, circling the throne room battle scene with Luke, Vader, and the Emperor in the throne.
Right.
And, I love Target as much as the next guy or,
yes.
Jeffrey Bezos and Amazon Prime, but just having the toys show up to you, it's just not the same. It's not.
Yeah. It's always a balance in convenience, advancements, and technology, and a new place to be, and that's what we talked about on Force Center. It's not about a battle against new and a battle against change. I just think sometimes we have to measure what we did lose or what we do lose. And you could still go find ways to shop for physical media. They're not as easy, but I'm even seeing Rich T says in chat, I still prefer to shop in person, grocery shop in person, Christmas shop at the mall. That, like, during the pandemic, I did, I changed to using Instacart because, you kind of had to, and God bless the Instacart drivers and shoppers that were doing the hard work for us and putting themselves in danger for us so I could get an ice cream sandwich. But I understood. I like the convenience, but I love grocery shopping. And it can be crowded. You don't go on Sundays. You time it better because there's an experience, there's a connection, there's a humanity to it. And I know this is big on Joseph Scrimshaw's heart. It's not so much the thunder of a rolling steamroller, changing everything and the changing of the world. It's not a fear of that. It's a loss of humanity and connection. And Evan, what you're talking about, Toys R Us. Taking a swing through Toys R Us, like every time I'm in Target, I go through the toy aisle. But to actually grab, and I'm talking grabbing roommates. I'm talking grabbing friends from college or people I lived with in LA. Hey, you want to go to Toys R Us? It was an experience.
Yes,
It was a
let's go
communal
right now.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah. It just doesn't hit the same. And I'm a new father. My son is going to be 7 months old, and I'm trying to
Congratulations,
live.
Evan.
Thank you so much. I'm trying to live like a '90s dad from a movie, like the good kind, not the kind that's too preoccupied with his job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Good. Yeah. Don't be a cats in the cradle. Don't be that. Don't be that.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what was on my mind, Ken.
No, it's great. And look, and Big Lou has a great comment here. We want to acknowledge Big Lou says, hey, curbside pickup is my saving grace to someone with limited mobility. And yeah, that's the big caveat. And I know, Evan, you're there with me on it, and Joseph and Jennifer were on that conversation. Like there's a convenience that's not just about, hey, I don't have to get out of my car. There's convenience to people that maybe don't have the opportunities or maybe need the assistance, or just it helps their lives. And Big Lou, I side with you on that. And I know you're such a loving guy. Anyways, if you understand the quest for more humanity. But Evan, I really appreciate you bringing it up, because you're talking about Toys R Us, but Tower Records,
Yes.
going to Amoeba Records, shopping for music. There was just something about having it in your hands that's a human connection. The amount of times that I picked up the Panics comes to mind. It's an Australian band. They got some great stuff. But in 2002 or 3, they released an EP. It was an import. I never would have found it. And maybe nowadays it's easier to find it because of algorithms and Spotify and Apple Music. Maybe. But I just saw the cover of the EP CD, and I went, I just feel I love this. And I bought it, $5.99, and loved it. One of my favorite bands. And you couldn't get that from just scrolling. You can't.
For sure. And Ken, how about the TV guide? Not the channel, not scrolling on your phone, the actual TV guide.
I think perhaps, along with Entertainment Weekly, the magazine I loved getting the most in my house. The wins and what do they call it? They had the wins and losses. They had They had all that. Loved it.
I would weep if I had a copy of TV Guide in my hand right now. I would weep.
Yeah. Evan, you are a wonderful old soul. You have a lot of knowledge to impart on your child, but I love that you are like having nostalgia for the days of the TV Guide. All those channel listings.
Ken, we peaked already. We're all just going downhill together.
Evan, thanks for calling in. I appreciate you. Again, congratulations to you and yours. What a wonderful thing.
Thank you.
All right, good night, Ken.
Evan calling in. Love that. I love that. I started streaming on my own. I was doing the podcast 2012, 2013, Force Center 2015. But after losing the Collider job in 2018, that's when I started Twitch streaming, started doing more stuff on YouTube on my own. And up until recently, I hadn't put a lot of elbow grease into YouTube. And I love doing this Blathering thing. But a name like Evan, Osborne Lomax, has been around for all those years. And I love when those names show up. So there you go. Good questions coming in. If you got a question, you got a super chat, you got anything, and now's your time. We'll be here till about 6:30. But we're not done yet. We got another call coming in. I look forward to these calls every week because I don't know where they're going to go. We got some topics out there in play tonight, but this next caller is he brings a sports talk radio vibe, but I mean that in a good way, not a Pat McAfee way, but more of an old style Rich Eisen way. Steve is on the line here right now, smiling. I can see his camera. You all get his audio. How you doing, buddy?
How's it going, Ken? Thanks for having me back. Appreciate it.
I love your calls, buddy. I love what you bring to the table. A lot of fun. I'm good, man. How you doing?
Good, very, very good. So I've got takes today. I got takes. I got thoughts. I usually get out of here pretty quick, but I got some things to go with today. We'll try to run through them though.
No one else queued behind you here. So if you got a question or two or a thought or two, let's have them.
Well, I got one for you to chew on while we go through the rest. Okay, and then we'll revisit this at the end. So we talked sauces earlier. I want your top 5 sauces. These are the only sauces you can have for the rest of your life.
God bless you. Okay.
All right, so just hold on to that. You don't have the answer right now. I know you need a minute. You got to digest that. So so we'll talk about some other stuff, but just chew on that bone for a second. One thing I wanted to mention: I've been watching you since 2015. Just now learned you were 2 degrees away from the origin of the bloomin' onion. That's I mean, I can't believe it's like you should tell that story more often. That's amazing.
that should be the story I tell on a bus bench.
Bread takes.
Bread takes.
Use your heels to make grilled cheese.
Oh yeah, okay. I like that. A heel grilled cheese.
If you're just not, if you're just not a normal heel person, try that to introduce yourself to not wasting the heel.
Okay, love that.
When you're out at the restaurant, always leave the heel last at the communal bread basket. You just got to gamble that everyone else doesn't like the heel, and so you're kind of banking yourself an extra piece of bread at the end there.
This is genius, Steve. Let me tell you why I appreciate the sentiment behind this. I like being conniving and a little bit vindictive and calculating at the dinner table. I love vegetarian pizza, the Veggie Supremes, because in 8th grade, I won a contest with my drama improv team. We got taken out to pizza lunch, and they ordered like a Veggie Supreme and a pepperoni, and everyone went for the pepperoni and was getting one slice. I went for the veggie. I had 3 slices. I ate like a king that day. So yes, strategy at the dinner table. I love that.
Favorite store that doesn't exist anymore. This is a great topic. I was talking about this one for a while. Also, I noticed in chat, ranch, not a sauce, not a condiment. Or we're not talking condiments. We're talking sauce.
So it's a dressing. You can use it. You can dip it. You can do all that stuff. I get you. I get where
you don't need ketchup, mustard. You can still use those things. We're talking sauce. Yeah.
Okay, we're talking sauces. Oh, that's going to be difficult. Okay, gotcha.
Well, if you can only do 3, it's understandable.
Gotcha.
Where were we? Favorite store doesn't exist anymore. I had to agree with Blockbuster. That's a popular one, just because not even so much that the convenience factor. I get that Netflix is way easier for movies. You can get all your video games all right on the console online now. You don't even have to go to the store to get them anymore. But when I went to Blockbuster and I got an N64 game or I got a movie, I could just pop it into something and start enjoying it right away. There was the line of overpriced candy and popcorn as you went up to the register. Like there was just the carpet had its own thing. Like there was something about Blockbuster that just you get
a carton of Whoppers on the way out.
Yeah, that's $3 more expensive than it is the grocery store. Yeah, for sure. It's just
exactly.
It's not the same. But anyway, miss Blockbuster. But no, the runner-up for that, Circuit City, because you could price match and pit them against Best Buy a lot easier than it is to do with Amazon nowadays. I feel like they're always really stingy about like, oh no, that's not the exact same product on Amazon. The number's a little bit different, so we can't give you the price match. But no, if you were at Circuit City and we're like, hey, that's $35 at Best Buy. They're like, okay. Yeah, if you show me the Sunday, thing in the newspaper with the price on it, they'd give it to you.
I love that. Great. There's a great sauce debate going on. A lot of people are just not sure. A lot of people are saying ranch is a sauce. I understand it. Ranch is life. Rich and Jake. Ranch is life.
But dressing.
But it's a dressing that's crossed over. It has cross 4-quadrant appeal, but it's a dressing used as a sauce. I'm trying to come up. We're talking, and I'm trying to come up with a list here.
I'm trying to help the people that are saying ranch because you only get these 5 things for like the rest of your life, and I'm basically giving you ranch. So
gotcha.
Anyway,
gotcha. I feel it. Okay.
Here's another top 5. Just as you round out yours, I have one top 5 for you that is on theme this week with the premiere of the act. These are top 5 masters and apprentices in sports.
Ooh, I love this. This is great.
Top 5. Number 5. I feel like I need like a sound effect for this. We'll try that next week. Top 5. Greg Popovich and Tim Duncan. Number 5.
Ooh, that's beautiful. Pop.
Number 4. Joe Torre and Derek Jeter.
Oh, yeah, that one's close to my heart. Absolutely true. Arriving at the same time, too. Kind of. Jeter came in 95, but yes, showing up, 96. Love it.
Number 3 is Walsh and Montana.
Ooh, yeah. Now, okay, yeah. Would you say, is there a sub-chapter for Walsh and Young? But it's stronger with Montana.
I think you have a little bit of a, the acolyte or the apprentice, kind of skipping the line there a little bit. That's which brings me to the next one.
Okay.
Number 2, Brady and Belichick.
Yeah, you got to have a Sith. You got to have a Sith there. That's absolutely true.
And then Brady goes on, does his own thing, wins his own Super Bowl. Belichick's out in the cold.
Right.
And I mean, number 1, I don't know how you can beat this. MJ, Phil Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, you got you got Michael Jordan saying, "I won't be here, Phil's not." I mean, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. This is a great list for those just joining. Steve's got our masters and apprentices in sports based off the Star Wars relationships here. Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, I'd put Don Shula, Dan Marino close, but it didn't get the results that I wanted as a Dolphin fan. So it's hard for me to say it's one of the top 5.
Yeah, I mean they're top 10, top 15. I emphasize championship. You got to finish the deal.
Yeah, you got to finish the deal. Yeah, otherwise you're just you're a Padawan learner and it didn't work out. You didn't pass your trials. And Dan Marino's my favorite football player, but we didn't win a title, so I didn't. Okay, love that.
You got your sauces?
Well, okay. I got 3. This is hard because if I'm at a table, I'm going for a ranch. Like that, I am that guy. I'm a good old fashioned ketchup guy, and I don't consider ketchup to be a sauce in this equation that you're talking about here. But I have at least 3. Maybe we'll work our way up, and I'd love to hear yours. And then in chat, if you've got some more, we are answering the question, and Steve, I'll let you set it up. Top 5 sauces or favorite sauces that you could only have. This is it for the rest of your life. This is what you get. Did I phrase that right?
Exactly. Perfect.
Okay. There we go. And yeah, we got some more choices coming in here. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes up there. Steve Spurrier and Danny Warfel, at least in the college ranks. Yes, absolutely. Okay. I've got 3 so far because I'm trying to go across my entire life, Steve. You know how hard it is to go back on a lifetime of food and memories?
It's a lot of pressure.
On the fly. Number 3, and I'm open if you say it's not, but I think it's billed as a sauce. It's not a ranch because you can get a ranch, but the Domino's pizza garlic sauce.
Valid
Counts. Okay. It's great. I use it on fries. I'll keep it around the house. We keep extra sauces like we're grandma and grandpa. Like if you open up our fridge, Grace and I have that little shelf that's like a packet of soy sauce, garlic sauce. We got that shelf. I think a lot of people have the shelf. Number 2, it's billed as a sauce, and it's very particular, though it's also a general sauce. The Wood Ranch barbecue sauce. The Wood Ranch barbecue sauce, which, by the way, Steve, they've taken off the goddamn tables. They don't have it out there anymore. You have to request it. It used to be there waiting for you, like a beacon of Gondor, lit to say your food's going to be better. Because I don't just put it on my meats. I put Wood Ranch barbecue sauce on my bread. I put it on my mashed potatoes. I put it on whatever's on my plate. It's the goddamn best barbecue sauce. It's a chain restaurant's biggest accomplishment in terms of barbecue sauce. I'm going Wood Ranch barbecue sauce.
You have to have a barbecue. You can't get through life without some kind of barbecue. So that's a good pull. I didn't see the garlic sauce coming. At number 3 was interesting to me. That's a great pull. So I'm okay. Number 1 is gonna. I'm fascinated. I don't know where we could go anywhere here with number 1. Okay. So let's see what we got.
Number 1. It's a chain restaurant too. I wish I had a more sophisticated answer. Okay. But I'm going, and I used to say this for years. Hey, let me get some of that Red Robin campfire sauce. It is basically their fry sauce, which is now you can get fry sauce on the shelf. But at the time, I was dating someone from Idaho who was like, have you ever had fry sauce? I'm like, what is this hell that you speak of? And she was like, oh, let me tell you. And it's basically ketchup and mayo. Like that's what we're saying. But the Idaho fry sauce is amazing. But she would say, and this is before you can just go to Ralph's or Kroger or whatever, or Pickwick or whatever, Picknickel or whatever these East Coast chains are. I heard Alex and Molly mention them on a stream today. Red Robin's campfire sauce was, she said, the closest you could get to. And those Red Robin bottomless steak fries dipped in campfire sauce, I'm just going to say, I'll say this, Steve, it's an orgasmic experience for me in my memories.
It's a great list.
There's 2 open slots. Now I'm going to have to go figure that, and I'll have a follow-up.
We'll revisit at a later date. Ken, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve. You're the best. Appreciate that. In, out, has a topic, has questions. Folks, that's how you do it. By the way, everyone calling tonight did wonderful. You're all great. But I was thinking about this the other day. Not only are AM radio talk shows not as listened to and appreciated, but the art of calling into a show, the art of showing up ready to play might be lost on the generations out there now. We here, because you all have some great calls going tonight, we here can bring that art back, all right? Evan, who switched his name, Evan was Major Problems, and now by the way, that brings up a point. I've said this before. If you have a username that's different than the name I know you as, just let me know. Just let me know. It takes me a sec. Troy met me in Boston. I was like, look, when you meet me, you got to let me know I'm Troy and hug me. And there was 2 seconds where he didn't let me know. And for 2 seconds, I was like, I think this is Troy. And he was like, it's Troy. I was like, all right, let me hug you. And we had a long embrace, almost too uncomfortable. Like I wouldn't let go. Evan's here. Ketchup is the most overrated. That's a hot take. Okay. Lauren Romo says, did we discuss how taco is not a sandwich? It's not a sandwich. It's a taco. End of discussion. Troy says a quick Google search seems to indicate you can buy bottled campfire sauce direct. Yes, I believe you can. I believe you can now. Believe you can. Rich T following up with the sports mentorship question. Paul Brown and Otto Graham. Yeah, going way back. That's a deep pull, Rich. Deep. Jake Yakovetis says, Troy's my favorite a-hole, and we had a moment in New York. Of course you did. Then we got LQ. I really like what LQ said here. I'll add to those Chinese condiments, soy, hoisin, I'm not saying that wrong, and oyster sauce. Ooh, I haven't tried the oyster sauce. We can mix and match and create different sauces. Yes. I don't have the specific answer. LQ's talking about Chinese food. I'm going to slide over to Thai food, and I want everyone to realize, I know there's a difference. This white guy knows the difference. But Grace and I love Thai food. There's a Thai restaurant around the corner that we order from all the time. I don't know if it would count, but there is, I only can describe it as a dipping sauce on the little, what are those called? The little, I'm drawing the name blank. The little, I get the little chicken popper things. I forget what they're called. Why am I drawing a blank? Because I order them every frickin' time. But there's a sauce, a little pot sticker, kind of like a pot sticker. That's what I'm thinking of. I don't even know what the sauce is. It's a thicker teriyaki, not a soy. I don't know what it is. It's just, that's why I get the little dumplings. That's it. I was thinking of dumplings, little pot stickers, little dumplings. I don't know if that counts. Peanut sauce is JB. Maybe. Brian Tiller's here. I saw Brian Tiller in person. Brian Tiller came out to my comedy show Tuesday night. I sat in the corner and watched Brian eat while he laughed at comedy. And it was a long show. And Brian Tiller is an example for all of you to come on out. That's right. Come on out for the June 30th show here at Flappers Comedy in Burbank, 7 p.m., Ken Epsuck's Hot Burbank Nights. Also, I want to Sean Sully was in Twitch, and it didn't pop up. I was into the Twitch section. There it is. Where did it go? Sean Sully says, hey, Ken, excited to see your Yuck Yucks on the 30th. So, Sean, I don't know if you're still watching on Twitch. I apologize. I saw it, and then it did not pop up on StreamYard. Shame, StreamYard. Shame. Looking forward to seeing you, and I hope Joe. But I'll just take you. But we all prefer Joe. Thought there was going to be a Brian anecdote. Nope. Promotion. Yep. I transitioned into promotion. LQ says all Asian cuisines have their own sauce combos. We're going for Thai barbecue tomorrow. God bless it. God bless it. So good. Plume says ponzu sauce. There's a plum sauce. You know what? I'm going to find out. This is why I have this show. As much as I love a good structured show with segments and all that, I also love just a messy show where I go and look something up as I go. Let's see here. Well, let me share it. Let me share this tab. And we got a call here from Brady here in a second. 8984M here. There we go. Okay, this is what I order. So if I get them steamed, I don't get them fried. I get them steamed. But they don't. 8 savory balls, giggity, of ground chicken wrapped with flour paper. There's a sauce that is, maybe they'll have it down here. Maybe they'll have it down here where I can get it. Maybe there's a side order of it. They just called it, they got a peanut sauce and a sweet and sour sauce. I think it's more of a peanut sauce. Maybe it's it. I don't know. I'm going to have to find out. Should I just call and ask him? This is my spot, man. This is my spot. This is what I do, okay? Right here. See that pad thai right there, that pad thai? I do that pad thai, and I do the order of the orange chicken. Occasionally I'll do a fried rice. It's hard to turn down a fried rice if you get the hankering for it. We get some tomka soup. We get some green curry, and I get some dumplings. God bless it. I am so effing hungry right now. Why did I do this to myself? Why did I do this to myself? Laserbolt videos, why did I do this to myself? Rich T says, one day during these lives, you should order food right in the beginning of the show and try to get it before the show ends and eat with us. Okay. I love that idea. J&B loves that idea. I'm not going to call them. J&B says Thai food is pretty amazing. Venture says that menu is rocking. Ton rated fridge. Star now. Yeah, I did this. LQ, that all sounds good. Good. Steve comes in hot with the topics. Got me thinking about sauces. Laserbolt Video says, I enjoyed your challenge to Alex Dabin earlier involving him launching his Lego TIE Fighter from his roof. Do you have any nice Lego sets that you would never slingshot into oblivion? Yeah. So for those that missed it, it was... I'm almost embarrassed to say they were writing me later. We were texted right after the live stream. It was crazy. I was in Alex and Molly's live stream, and they're building the Lego. They're building a Lego TIE Fighter set, and I don't even think it's one of the minifig ones. I think it's one of the adult Lego sets. And I was kind of in a salty mood. I haven't had the greatest of weeks. And someone on the channel, someone in their chat was like, I've started a podcast, and by the way, I'm not making fun of them, but they're like, I'm starting a podcast reviewing movies and TV shows, and how do I get the screeners like you guys? And I want to be clear. Was not upset at that person asking the question. They're also supporters of Alex and Molly, so they're A-okay in my book. But I got a little salty. Because I'll say Force Center got removed from the list. We don't get screeners. We don't get invited to the screenings. We're not on the list anymore. And that's fine, because it's not a reward. It's just part of being in the press covering this stuff if you get on this list. It's not like Disney Lucasfilm looks down and goes, we like you, we like you, we like you. They do look now more for influence versus, just a popular or a high volume show covering Star Wars. But we had got removed from the list. So we have not had screeners for like 2 years, which affects our recording schedule, and it's kind of a mess. And so this person was asking Alex and Molly a very nice question about how can I get on the list? And Alex and Molly don't really know because they don't even know how they got on it. They just are on it, and they should. They're a leader in the space. So I was a little salty, but I felt bad for being salty. So then I said in Alex and Molly's comment section, they were building this nice Lego set. I said, what's the super chat level for you all to go up on the roof of your house and launch that thing with a slingshot? How much money? And Molly immediately is like, 0. I'll do it now. That sounds fun. And Alex, you could see in Alex's face, was like, we're not going to do that. I'm not going to break my Lego set. I'm not going to. Oh, absolutely not. And he's making excuses. If Alex watches, he's making excuses. You all can clip this out and send it to Alex. He was making excuses. Well, the Legos will get all over the grass, or dogs will eat the Legos. I can't do this. And then Molly's like, 0. So he answers the question. He says, I don't know, $1,000. But I could tell right away on Alex's face, especially with the wonderful, large fan base they have. Alex on his face is like, crap, someone will do that. And I don't want them to do that. He doesn't say that. He doesn't vocalize that right away. But I could tell that he's like, oh, I said $1,000. Someone's going to do that. I don't want to do that. So then everyone in chat is like, well, is it a collected $1,000? If like a bunch of us put down $10, $5, and we get to $1,000? Are you going to go launch the TIE Fighter from your roof? And Alex is like, no, 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 no. And Molly's like, no, 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 no. So they say, hey, Alex says it has to be It has to be one amount, knowing that that'll be harder for someone to do. Also, there's a limit. You can only go as high as $500 on Super Chats. So he thinks he's out of the woods. And then someone gave them a $500 Super Chat. A $500 Super Chat. And it comes in, and they were both shell-shocked. They were both humbled. And I've been there in February when I had a bit of a nervous breakdown here live on the channel. A lot of you supported me in a time of need, and it meant a lot. And it's hard, it's hard. I love just hanging out with you. A little super chat, not a little one, a generous super chat from Laserbolt it makes my night. JMB, it makes my night. But Alex and Molly were shocked. I don't think, and even the person who gave the super chat was like, look, I'm just supporting, don't launch that thing off the roof of your house. But Alex and Molly are going to come up. I was texting with them. They're going to come up with some stuff. It was great. So anyways, that was the highlight of my night, because I could just see on their faces that they're like, no one's going to do that. Crap, someone might do that. And then we have to, they did it. So it was a lot of fun. Laserbolt said, you told him to buy another one and launch the whole box. To Laserbolt's other question, says, do you have any nice Lego sets that you would never slingshot to oblivion? Yeah, I absolutely do. I do not. I have still. If you go to my Instagram page and scroll down, I'll try to do that while we're chatting. I still have the Galaxy Commander set, which I believe is from 1983. It's a, quote, space Lego set from way back in the day. And I built it in 1983 when I was a little tyke, like 7 years old or something like that. The photo is in the pandemic days, so I'm going to be scrolling for a bit while I'm chatting. And I built it. I put it together. Later on, I would make some sort of, made some modifications. And I still have it together. It's not glued. It's definitely dusty. There it is. Got that photo. All right. We're going to share this tab instead. And this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Lego set is everything to me. I just don't know the amount of money it would take for me to launch that sucker at all, or even take it apart. That set on my screen right now, and if you're listening on the podcast version, number one, thank you for supporting the podcast. I get about $17 a month from it, and I need that $17, and I appreciate you listening on the podcast. But this Galaxy Commander 1983 Lego set, what you're seeing in that photo, 7-year-old Kenny put it together. And then I made down here, where I guess you can't see, but down here there's the little front cannon. That's aftermarket. I added that. There's a cannon on the back. You see on the back left. I added that because I felt it needed defense. David's with me. Says he had that set too. Yeah, the Galaxy Commander set. And I used to tell stories with this. Oh, and you see the little rover on the right side? There's a little rover. See those wheels there? I added that too. Aftermarket lunar explorer module type of thing. You land, you need to get a quick escape drive. Now, the Galaxy Commander does come apart, meaning like you could take the back end off, and then that little where the satellite tower is, it opens up, and it's a little like command station or a satellite research station. And the guns in the front used to be longer, but I took some of the guns and I put that little cannon there on the right is they used to have 4 of those in the front. So other than those aftermarket adaptations, I should say, that thing is together. I just don't know, and I'm not gonna do a silly super chat challenge. I'm just saying there's no way I'd emotionally be prepared. And that's what I think Alex was going through. He was like, I'm just building this TIE Fighter. I cannot destroy it. So that's that. So there's other sets. I've built smaller ones, there's bigger ones. I just I sold all my Legos in March, my big ones, other than my Death Star. Still have my Death Star up there, and I don't have it built, but I would not want to destroy the Death Star either. But Alex and Molly have to face that moral dilemma. Anyways, the time we got left, we're getting a couple calls here. I told myself don't make this a 2-hour show. 8984M, you're on. Brady, Kyrie, what's up, man? How are you? Are you there?
Sorry, mic issue.
It's okay. You're allowed a mic issue. What's going on?
Yeah. I feel like you were calling me out when you said talking about the new generation not knowing about AM calls. A little bit.
No. I've enjoyed everyone's calls. We kind of ran into this. I'll be honest. We ran into this on Force Center, which I do believe you called in, but you weren't part of that. Joseph and I opened up the phone line, so to speak, on Force Center. We're going to do it more regularly to our Patreon supporters and do a live stream with calls. Everyone was great, and I want to be clear. Really mean that. Everyone was great. But people don't call in anymore with that kind of, hey, it's Brady from Oklahoma. What do you guys think of the TIE Fighter? Thanks, I'll take my call off air. A lot of people just assumed they were now a guest on my on the Force Center podcast. And I understand why. And we hung out, we talked to them. It wasn't a bad thing. But afterwards, Joseph and I were like, all right, we got to remind people that this is like a talk show. Like, get in, get out. So we can get more people in. But no, you're 898 4M. Don't worry. Your legacy. You're good. You're here. What's on your mind?
So about the sauce situation, I'm thinking it might be some kind of. Did you say is it brown? Is it and it's sweet?
Oh yes. For my Thai food sauce, yeah. So we're looking at maybe a sweet and sour, but it's not sweet and sour. It doesn't feel like peanut sauce, Yakavetta. But yeah, what do you got?
It might be peanut sauce.
It might be. Okay. You might be right.
Because this is some inside information. I have a friend who works in the restaurant industry.
Okay.
And a lot of peanut sauces doesn't have any peanuts in it.
Okay.
It's just,
it's just a name. Okay.
It's just a name. It's soy sauce and I think coconut milk, if I remember correctly what he said. Yeah. I'm sorry if I ruined the illusion for everyone.
No, this is great. But that makes sense. That makes sense because it's got the soy sauce vibe. It's like I'm hanging out with soy sauce, but it's a little thicker around the middle. It's like a middle-aged soy sauce. And that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and I guess some places they add like a little bit of peanut crumble to make it seem like it's, there's actually peanuts, but no.
Okay, yeah, this one doesn't, but the pad thai comes with peanut crumbles, and I normally would say not for me. I do love peanuts. Again, Yakavetta, I said peanuts, but I like it on the pad thai.
Yeah. Man.
Well, you're blowing minds. People are Lauren Roma with peanut sauce doesn't have peanuts. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what I hear. If I'm wrong.
You're speaking truth. You're speaking truth to power, and the power is big Thai. All right, and I like that.
Big
I like that.
Okay. I'm just a whistleblower. Hopefully,
you're.
No one comes up.
Yeah, and LQ points out. She says that's like duck sauce. No duck. It was made to eat with other things. Yeah, that's a good example, LQ, because. I've avoided duck sauce knowing there's no duck in it, but I've still avoided it. So it's bad branding. We need to work on the duck sauce branding. Duck sauce, now with no ducks.
Yeah, and same thing with hoisin sauce. I think the direct translation is seafood sauce. Same thing. There's no seafood in it. It's just soy sauce and some other thing. Oh, your sauce might be hoisin sauce also.
Am I saying hoisin sauce? Okay, I want to make sure I'm saying that right. Especially if I call, it's the dumb white guy. Hey, am I having hoisin or peanut?
Don't worry about it. Hoisin's. Hoisin, I think, might be. Don't worry about it, man.
Don't worry about it. Your answer is don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, white guy. Don't worry about it. All right, I'm getting hungry on that there. Brady, 8984M, anything else on your mind, man? How you feeling in an Acolyte week? Where do you go here before we close out?
Yeah, oh my god. Acolyte. This is the representation with Soul. He's a real character, like he's flawed. I just love that.
I want to ask you about that for a second, but I got our good friend Alan Smithy, who I hope to see at Flappers on June 30th, says liquid death doesn't actually kill you. So you guys are all making good points. Liquid death, the water. Ken Plume says shrimp sauce is also a lie. You know what? This is great. I do want to talk to you about something. I think there is a appropriate conversation to have, obviously, about the Acolyte being so important for representation in Star Wars. But there's also a conversation now, 10 years into Star Wars, where things have changed, that this has come from Leslie Headland herself, who has said, I don't want to have that conversation anymore or as much. The idea being, and it's not for me as a middle-aged white guy to declare, but for her to kind of say, it's not a diverse cast, it's the cast. So how do you reconcile or deal with the two truths, which is some important representation, but also it ain't special, it's just what it is. It's the cast. Yeah. And we should celebrate it. Where do you go with that?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, because a lot of time with representation, you have to consider the fact that it's good representation, right?
Right.
In the 2000s, I remember the 2000s, the era I grew up in. Like there was a lot of diverse casts, but especially for Asian characters, we were just window dressing.
Right.
We're just like, hey, we have some Asian characters. You say hi to the main character and then you exit. And then so people did not want to do that anymore. But then the opposite problem in the 2010s, especially the start, was, okay, we don't want to have bad representation, so we're just not going to have any of it at all. And and that was like, oh, that's not the issue at hand. It's
it's just you can cast us without the tropes. You can cast us with a little more oomph. Okay.
And that's just the issue with, like, I think behind the scenes you want more, like, more diverse writers' room, so you can actually get that perspective.
Decision makers. It's interesting because I think it's definitely an important conversation. But I was fascinated to hear, and I wasn't involved in these interview sessions, but Leslie Headland has said that a few times, of like, and she said it in a very colorful way, that words I cannot repeat here, that she's like, I'm just kind of done with that conversation. But obviously it means everything to her because she put this cast out. But I'd love to get to that post, I don't even want to call it post world, but just where it's like, it's like we don't they're not lady pilots, they're pilots. But we also have to acknowledge that for a long time they maybe weren't allowed in the flight industry. You know what I mean? Like it's a dance. Right. And I loved hearing what Saul just kind of on a surface level might represent to you. Like you said, a real character, a real flawed, fully functional, formed character with a performer bringing his heart to it. That's a beautiful thing. So it means the world, but also is just what it is. I like that.
Right. Yeah. And, Soul could be the bad guy, and I'm all for it.
I'm with you.
His backstory is just, there's something he's not telling us. It's just like, oh.
There's and I don't want to, for those who aren't Star Wars fans or Acolyte fans, this is via Force-centered conversation, but Saul's got something going on. Saul's got something going on. Oh, look at this. Adam Witt has showed up here. I've got to get Adam that link. Let me get Adam. I need to talk to Adam. I pulled an Eric Davis card from a pack this week, and I just thought of Adam. It was sweet, warm thoughts of Adam. I'm going to give him a link here. A link, not a leak. 8984M. Anything else before I let you go? I appreciate you calling.
Just Yord Horde,
Yord Horde, indeed.
Yeah, he's stuck in the mud, but he's trying. He's a little fearful, but I'm rooting for him to get over that fear.
There you go. Love it. I'm with you. I'm with it. I'm rooting for Yord as well. Thank you, Kyrie. Calling in 8984M, checking in. I want to shout out Captain Hopper, who is rating us on Twitch, bringing in some folks. Thank you, Captain Hopper. If you're just tuning in, this is me, Ken Knapsack. This is the Blathering Alive, a show I do every Thursday, where we do live calls from channel members and Patreon supporters, right here on YouTube. I still got to figure out a way to make sure the Twitch folks are getting that link there. I'll do that as well. So if we get more people watching on Twitch. This is like an old AM radio talk show. We're hanging out. The calls go anywhere you want. I put a link out. I emailed Adam Witt a goddamn link because I want to talk about. We talked about Eric Davis the last time Adam called in, but I just wanted to share my joy. But also, Adam, earlier on the show, I said about one of the things I miss about the Schmodown. Oh, there he is now. I'm going to say it to his ears. All right, I'm going to say it to his ears. Adam the Razor Witt, how are you?
Please, folks, turn your radio down. Turn your radio down. Turn your radio down.
One of the nicest men in this town. And let me tell you something. That's saying a lot because this town is full of a bunch of a-holes.
What are you guys talking about? You guys playing cards?
We're playing cards, man. We're going all over tonight. I got some hot questions for you. But earlier tonight, I was, I'm removed enough from it that I can talk about Schmodown now without some of the pangs that I had and the trials and tribulations I had with the Schmodown.
You're pangless. You're pangless.
I'm pangless.
Memories of the Schmodown.
Someone asked me, and I'm sorry if you guys are listening from the beginning and I'm repeating something, but Adam,
I just hopped on, by the way. I haven't heard anything.
I know.
So I know you're talking Star Wars.
No, well, we were a little bit. We try to keep that for Force Center. But someone asked me what's the thing I miss most about the Schmodown. I was like, you know what? It's having to see people, and that can be a double-edged sword because there may be people you don't want to see in life. But I specifically said, Adam Witt and I have been trying to schedule lunch for months.
It's true.
But it used to be that I had to see you once a month, and I was goddamn blessed by that.
Oh, that's a very, very good thought. That's very lovely. Thank you, Ken. I like being missed in that way. Yes, obligations. That's one of the fun things about
work.
Yeah, but also, when we do these kooky artistic ventures, whether we're making a short film or putting together a podcast or something, you're like, I want to be obligated to hang out with Ken or hang out with Paul Preston.
Yeah.
So good obligations.
Look at that. Jake Yakavetta says Adam is the damn homie. Yeah, absolutely. So I opened up a pack of 1991 Donruss. And
I love This Is What Made You Think of Me. It's really near and dear to my heart. I pulled two things out that it made me think of Adam Witt. Eric Davis, 1991 Donruss. So this reflects the 1990 wire-to-wire team. And I pulled out a Barry Larkin Diamond King. All right. Nice. That 1990 year. Oh my God. That was just so.
What did that mean to you as a Reds fan? You grew up, I know you're maybe a couple seasons older than me, but you grew up on the tail end of the Big Red Machine.
Right.
But it had dissipated by the 80s.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah. We had the Mario Soto years where it was just like, the Reds were in the basement and
you had the Marge. The Marge Schott took over with her Nazi memorabilia years. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's the Well, I'm going to defend her because my parents bought their car from her, and she worked at the Schott Chevrolet was a real place, and when you went in, Marge Schott sold you your car because that's how much of a hometown person she was. She didn't buy the Reds because she was a conglomerate. She bought it because she's Marge Schott, local person. Everybody knows her,
It's amazing. Yeah, she's a fascinating character. I'll say this. I'm taking a swipe at an incident, but like in Shotzi, the dog crapping on the field, I want a doc.
I want a doc. So local. Why don't we have that anymore? Come on, that's adorable.
Yeah, I want a doc on her. I want an ESPN, and there maybe was some. I don't know, but I want like a Hulu 3-part series, like they just did the one on the '90 Yankees on Marge Schott. She's a fascinating character, female owner in baseball, and other. There's a lot there.
Right, exactly. Now, and you're on to something there. Do not diminish the fact that a bunch of big conglomerate guys wanted her to sell that team into corporations, and she wouldn't. And boy, all this stuff came out about her, and she had to leave because I don't know where all this information came from, Ken. Suddenly we were hearing all the bad stuff about this female local owner, single owner of what could be a giant, corporation. So,
this is why you bring an Adam Witt on your show. This is why you do it. But I sidetracked my question to you. The 1990 Reds, with the nasty boys. They go wire to wire. Yeah. Chris Sable's on the team, third year in. Davis is healthy, though he does hurt his kidney in the postseason, if I recall. This is a great team. And what did it mean to you as a youngster, as a younger man in the 90s?
What was really cool is I lived where I was born and raised was halfway in between, closer to Dayton than Cincinnati. So the kids in that school, it was 50-50, Bengals and Browns, Indians and Reds. But then when I went to my high school, I was closer to Cincinnati, and it was nothing but Bengals, nothing but Reds. And that was 80 there in 88. So
great year
here come the Bengals with the Super Bowl in 88.
Tim Crumry and his broken leg.
Poor Crumry, yes. And then all of a sudden you can get 700 WLW in crystal clear. You couldn't before. That the very first year I listened to every single Reds game was the wire to wire season.
Who was the announcer? Marty Brenneman?
Marty Brenneman and Joe Nuxall.
Oh, Nuxall.
The old left-hander.
And didn't he make the major leagues at 15, right? During the war?
Yes, he's one of the youngest major leaguers of all time. Yeah. And there was a really funny story because back in the days when Joe Nuxall was first announcing and stuff, you could get drunk on the air. There just wasn't all these standards. Everybody's smoking and all this sort of stuff.
Oh, God, yeah. Smoking in the dugout, yeah.
And I remember somebody told the story about a overtime game where Nuxall just got drunker and drunker. They were into extra innings. Yeah. It was like 12 innings. And he always ended the show by saying, this is the old left-hander rounding third and heading for home. And I remember Bob Costas told the story, and he goes, the old left-hander rounding third and heading for home. And sometimes he made it there. Yeah.
Well, look, out here in LA, I had a friend who was a board operator for a local AM station in my hometown that carried the Dodgers. And he was like, you could tell, because Scully would do, rest in peace, Vinny. Yeah. Vin would do the first 3 innings, but then maybe switch over to TV. And Ross Porter, this is Ross Porter taking over. And he goes, Ross Porter would come in on the 4th inning and be like, this is Ross Porter here with the Dodgers here tonight. By the 9th inning, he was like, this is Ross Porter. Steve Sachs was at the plate. And you could just tell he was getting sloshed in that press room all through the game. Love that.
Yeah. I mean, that's as much as we love throwing around the 80s baseball character names. I mean, God, the play-by-play guys were just as legendary, and it's so fun.
I mean, look, I think I bemoan the loss of the broadcaster, but it doesn't mean there isn't great announcers. Like I actually I defend Joe Buck at times. I understand why people don't like him, and but that is also, so I want to be clear, I like Joe Buck, but that is the difference. You have Joe Buck, who is he's wry, but he's generally indistinguishable as a voice from a lot of other announcers, where his father, Jack Buck, we'll see you tomorrow night, was just singular. And that era, I don't know if we'll ever get back, because I just don't know if people will allow that to happen.
Now,
Harry Carey or
pre-headshot era. Harry Carey didn't have to turn into headshot to get his announcing job.
Dear God, Adam. You say you have these morsels that I quote. I'll tell you the other one. I'll tell everyone the other one I quote. But pre-headshot era is so true. Like I hear voice actors bemoan this because at one point, as a voice actor, you weren't meant to be seen. That was the point. And I'm not saying voice actors were these ugly, ragamuffins, this and that. But like at some point, voice actors became stars, which is great because it raised the profile of the business. But I've had friends tell me, they're like, I've lost out on voice jobs because I didn't look the part. And that's freaking frustrating for them. The other thing I quote, I say this, and I just said this recently, I say it with all sincerity. When you and I had that conversation about Star Wars at the restaurant, it was at the Schmodown Awards, and you and I snuck down the street
when I broke my sabbatical.
Yes, to the Saddle Ranch. Yes, you had never talked Star Wars. You had stopped talking Star Wars people. You and I had a great conversation. And you had said, in that conversation and maybe other conversations after, that the biggest problem with our generation, the Gen X, the early Gen X, not millennials, but just the original trilogy fans that were there for the prequels. The first chance we got, we tried to destroy Star Wars for the generations after. That stuck with me, and I quote it often. You got
that's that 1999 thing, that we were all on the internet now, and everybody could be the next Roger Ebert, but of course we weren't, and now we regularly confuse a criticism of a movie or let's say a Star Wars TV show, and every time I hear someone go, I'm hearing bad things from who? A guy just a person. Like yesterday, I saw just a flurry of all these things being retweeted, and I literally have the same answer every time. Someone will put up a response to something else somebody tweeted, and I look down and I go, I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
you're responding to a stranger. If you want confirmation that strangers have dumb opinions, that happened long before the internet. We just didn't know what everybody was thinking.
We didn't know.
No.
Mr. Witt, I'm about ready to wrap up, but I appreciate you calling in, checking in.
I just want to say one last thing, Ken.
Yep.
I mean, the possibilities of speaking English in a galaxy far, far away. I mean, what are the possibilities? It's just really far-fetched that they'd all speak English. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, that's my criticism. That's my valid criticism as
Bye-bye.
a guy who pays for the internet.
Yeah. Star Wars Acolyte broke canon. They said hell as if Uncle Owen and Han Solo hadn't said it in 1977.
I mean, come on.
1980. And they said it in English. There you go. Mr. Adam
astronomical.
Fire in space, everybody. The scientific documentary that is Star Wars has been ruined forever.
Absolutely.
God damn it. All right. Love you, Mr. Witt. Let's get that lunch this year.
Let's do it.
All right. Mr. Adam Witt calling in. It's what a time. What a time. All right. Final call of the night. I'm bringing him in here. We never know which way it's going to go. He'll probably say a swear word. He'll probably do something that makes me shudder, but I love him nonetheless. I also love there was something he did this week that I really loved and respected. We don't need to talk about it because I don't want to give the gastropod any airtime. But Yak Avizzle, Jake Acavetta, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's up, brother?
A lot of people saying Kingsport Cal. No, I love Kingsport Cal as much as Jake Acavetta.
Cal's the homie.
Mm-hmm. What's on your mind, buddy? By the way, I really don't want to talk because I talked about it too much on others, but I don't want to talk about it on air. But there's one thing you did this week. I think and I really loved it and respected it.
I know, and you would be very amused by the DMs that I got after that.
I can only imagine when a bloviating gastropod gets challenged, they really have a lot of opinions on themselves. So yes, I imagine. But what's on your mind, man? What's your question? Where are you going? What do you want?
Well, for like 10 minutes there, I completely forgot what I was going to ask you because you brought on Adam Witt, and I was just like, oh my God, it's Adam.
It's Adam Witt. I mean, yeah, it's amazing.
But no, so you and I, we've met each other several times.
We've hugged.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that wasn't it. God. Gosh.
You didn't want to talk about hugging me? All right, that's fair. That's
fair. No.
That's fair.
I'm forgetting what I was about to say.
That's fair. That's fair. It's okay.
I think it was something about Schmodown.
Okay. What's your favorite? Did you hate me when I turned on Rachel?
No.
Okay,
no.
That's fair.
Because I didn't know her at that time. I know her now.
Oh, but now you'd be like, F that Ken guy. Yeah, okay.
Yes, F that. I'm trying not to cuss.
I love a good swear word, Jake. You just know what I'm trying to do with YouTube. That's all I ask. And you're doing great.
You have called me out for cussing on your channel so many times.
Yeah, because you kept cussing. That's why.
Well, fuck it.
That's fine. I'll give you that one because that was comical. That was comical.
No, like literally. No, I actually did have something that. Oh, okay. I remember because it's been like 30 minutes and I forgot what I was going to ask because I was listening to all the other awesome guests that you had.
Love it.
So you said that you don't have any ill will to anybody who like does big Streamlabs or anything like that, big donations.
No, I don't have ill will. It's just sometimes when they come in as a a broadcaster or a host, like, trust me, like I wish, I wish I had Streamlabs and Super Chats just pouring in, and I could go sleep on a pile of money. Of course, that's why I do this. I do this to make a living. But sometimes as a host, when the generosity can catch us off guard, and we don't understand it, because at our core, we think we're a bunch of schlubs who are just talking into microphones, and it's not that we don't accept it and can't process it, and certainly maybe at times need it. So it's not an ill will towards anyone that does the big donations. It's more of a, oh my God, I don't know if I'm worthy. That's where it goes.
Okay, yeah, I got you. So I am kind of well known, humbly as someone who throws out a lot of fucking money.
Yeah,
oh, shit. I cussed. Sorry, my bad.
It's okay. I love you, Jake. I recognize that you're trying, and that's the important thing. Unlike Kingsport Cal, who doesn't try sometimes. I miss you, Cal. That's why beyond, and I want to make clear, I think a lot of people over the years have benefited from your generous tipping, I'll say, and they recognize that. But when I said the thing about what I feel you do, it goes beyond that, and I hope you realize that too. It is not just a dollar amount; it's your presence and your support.
Oh yeah, no. I wasn't like trying to go there. I just wanted to give you a story.
Give me a story,
if that's okay.
I'm gonna tap you at 2 minutes because I gotta go feed a dog.
Okay. Well, hey, I can put my tip in at 2 minutes. So, when the whole Zaflirtenflaus thing was happening on SEN,
yes,
and they were like, we need to get this certain amount of money to make Zaflirtenflaus like a part of the Schmodown.
Right.
And Christian said, hey, Paul Denuzio, you need to call Jake Iacovetta right now. And Paul texted me, woke me up. And I was like, oh, shit, this is happening?
Yeah.
And so I ended up sending in a fucking $400 donation to make that happen. And the next day I was like, oh, my God, what did I do?
What did you do? Yeah.
But I apologize to everybody because the Flirtenflaus was my fault. I'm sorry.
Laserbolt says, I really found Flirtenflaus hard to take. Yeah, it was an acquired taste maybe from stuff. No, I love it. And look, we appreciate that stuff, even if you're bringing in a controversial character into the Schmodown. But I love it. I remember those days. I wasn't a part of SEN, but I remember hearing about that. And, you made dreams come true, Jake.
I want my $400 back.
Well, luckily, fortunately, I am not the man to speak about that. You have a complaint department you can submit a written request to, and it ain't mine. It ain't mine. Jake, I do have to go. Chihuahua's getting hungry and restless. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here, and I love you, all right?
Yeah, I know. I mean, every time I've seen you from Houston to L.A., we've hugged. We've said we love each other. It's all good, man.
Hey, and good luck in those DMs, all right? All right, bye, Jake. Jake Iacovetta, rounding out the show here tonight as we start to. I did 2 hours. I told myself tonight it's a 90-minute show. It was a 90-minute show tonight. But here we are. Hey, if you're local, I really, really want you to come to Kidnap Sucks Hot Burbank Nights at Flappers Comedy Club, Yoo-Hoo Room. We've got a great lineup of comics. We have got Joe Starr. You know him from Screen Junkies, Wizards of the Coast, and a whole lot more. We got Jen Sturger. You know Jen Sturger. She is one of the best out there and one of my favorites to work with. And you got Mark Ellis. He's all right. And you got me headlining. I'm doing 40 minutes of comedy. That's right. I'm going to have a lot of fun. I got things planned. It's going to be a little different. Oh, I got some jokes. I got some bits, but I got other things I'm going to do. Come on out if you're local. I really would appreciate it. I'm trying to sell this thing out to show Flappers what I can do and move my stand-up career to another level. But I appreciate all of you hanging out with me here tonight. Venture says baby carrots. And there you go. PC Plushes. Mark Ellis. Never heard of him. Rich T says, have you found out if you might be able to load it to YouTube or something? Not quite yet, but we're going to find a way. We're going to find a way. That's it for now. I appreciate the calls. You want to become a channel member, hang out with me on 20 Minutes of Coffee. It'll be back soon. Don't you worry. Also, you can get you can get the video replays of Pop Rockin' Radio when I do it. Pop Rockin' Radio is kind of on a touch and go. I think we're going to do a show this Saturday, but it's not going to be every week. And hang out, do some more things. That's it. Bye-bye, friends. Bye-bye.